Welcome back to the Mo Mayer podcast after a brief intermission of summer. We did a couple episodes over summer, and due to technical difficulties, we lost all of the footage,
Don't
which
blame me. I'm definitely not liable here.
it's kind of sucks. But you know what? It's all right. We moved past it, so we decided just to take a break and reconvene football season. But it's football season. It's here again. So we're just
On
gonna
a win, baby.
we're gonna jump right into it, and we're gonna go game by game and what we thought were the craziest things that have happened in each game, starting this week with the Chiefs and the Ravens. Sean, you could take the Chiefs and Ravens.
All right, let's just take this one away and just start it immediately. All right, that Isaiah Likely foot out of bounds. Oh, it was a
Rough,
toe. That was rough for Ravens fans out
just like
there. I want
Kevin.
to apologize for that. That was tough. That was tough. It was a great game.
Reminded me of the Kevin Durant 3-pointer in when we were seniors in high school.
Ah, yes, good
Yeah,
times. Well, being seniors in high school, but
yeah.
yeah, I felt like that was a great game. Felt like the run game was established by the Ravens. I felt like Lamar looked good. I was surprised Tucker missed a 50-yard field goal, considering it's
Oh
it's
my
Justin
God, yeah.
Tucker. Um, very, very happy though with like entertainment wise, as a pure fan watching, I thought it was a great game. In terms of like in depth, I thought the Chiefs, I feel like Mahomes, he played well, but he definitely made a couple mistakes. I feel like it was overall like a really close competitive game. What can I say? I'm really happy with the game.
No, I agree. I would say the comments that Likely made after the game were very interesting to me, where he said
Well,
this
he
this,
was walking the
this is
walking the
their
tunnel.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
walking the tunnel, and then after the game, he said if this is the Chiefs' best, then they're gonna kill him in the playoffs. I think that's ridiculous because both teams obviously didn't play to their best. But if anything, I think the Ravens played a better game than the Chiefs did that night, and I think the Chiefs are just a better team.
yeah. I think if you want to flash back to the playoff game last season. Sorry, I was early technically speaking. I mean, overall, great performance by the Chiefs. Questionable performance by the Ravens for that. In my opinion, the Ravens should have definitely have actually ran the ball in that game, but that was a whole season ago. Their running backs are gone. They brought in Derrick Henry, obviously, right now. So let's just see what they got in the future. Like I said, I think this is going to be a good Ravens team this year, but that's going to be a very, very solid AFC North, I believe.
I agree. All right, we're gonna move on to the next game here that's on my slate. Friday night game, first time it's happened in Brazil, Eagles Packers. I'm gonna start because I hate the Eagles. Um, I, 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 it pains me to watch that game for reasons. You see the flag in the
Yeah.
back. I'm not an Eagles fan, and I'm not a Saquon Barkley supporter anymore. Three touchdowns was rough to watch. Do I think the Eagles are in a good place? I would say yes, but I don't know because the Packers, I think, are a little overrated. My biggest takeaway from that game is that Jordan Love, when he's healthy and when he's a little banged up, can compete with one of the best defenses in the league.
Oh, well, let's talk about that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
that
a
that's a
big.
lucky man. That's a very lucky man. I thought he tore his MCL. He only sprained
I
it.
know. I know.
Very lucky man. Back 3 to 6 weeks. Not going to go on IR. And that saves the Packers season, in my opinion. I just think that Love. I think he showed a lot of flashes last season. I thought it was very good. I think this is the year that he truly establishes himself in the top 10, debatably top five QBs in the NFL.
I think.
I think he's a
Yeah,
solid quarterback.
I
And
agree.
I want to give a shout out to Jane Reed there. I don't know, really good performance, in my opinion.
Benched him in fantasy against Will, so that's why I lost.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I
Um,
lost to Jake Moody, but I'll talk about that later.
Another thing I want to point out from the Eagles side because they played a great game by giving the ball to Saquon Barkley. That center, they're missing Jason Kelsey. If you watch that game,
Oh yeah, that's right.
he
The
had a
uh the
couple
first
messages.
snap of the
Yeah,
Eagles, the first snap on the first Eagles drive was a
yeah,
fumble,
he's
due to a
missing.
miscomm, I believe.
Yeah, and then they messed up the tush push, I think, and it dropped on the ground at one other point. But last thing about that game was, I think Jalen Hurts threw two interceptions, which is like, I think the Eagles don't go as far as their defense can take them because I think their defense is great. I think the Eagles go as far as Jalen Hurts takes them because if Jalen Hurts can't play football, then they're not gonna go where they want to go, which
I'm
is
inclined to agree with you there 100%.
which is someone's got to go into San Francisco and win in San Francisco, which is going to be tough.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. As I'm
Yep,
the residential, as I'm the resident Jets fan, so we'll get to that later.
for sure. All right, moving on to the next game here. I got Panthers Saints. There's not really much to talk about. The Panthers got absolutely hosed.
Yeah, that was even funny. I really thought the Panthers would have rebounded a little bit from last season. I thought Bryce Young would have taken a step in the right direction, but I think the big decision was them not playing any of their starters in the preseason. I think it really sucked for them.
I agree. Also,
Um,
I don't know how much blame I could put on Bryce Young. He's in such a bad position with such bad players and bad coaching. I mean, who doesn't play any of their starters in preseason?
yeah, I mean, I know the Jets did that, a couple other teams as well, per se, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. Still, I think the biggest issue though was Bryce Young was just blatantly overthrowing receivers and just
Exactly.
not being on the same page. And that can fall either way. That can fall under the coaching, for example, for pregame prep. Walking through how the plays are going to go and everything like that. As a current player, we do a lot of prep routes, throwing pregame stuff like that. Yeah, and preparation before. Yeah, you do a lot of that work. So it could fall on the coaching staff, or he just might not be seeing everything like the way that you'd expect an NFL caliber quarterback to be. Like, he's going to draw comparisons to the end of time with CJ Stroud because it's 1 and 2. And Stroud adapted to the NFL immediately, makes those reads fast on the fly, and has a great game because of it.
I
And
agree.
it's having a great career as of now, starting off, and is
I
my
agree.
fantasy quarterback in 3 different leagues.
I agree. Last thing I got to say about that game is that it's not like they got beat down by a powerhouse. They got beat down by a team that's not projected to win their division. I think the Saints are projected third in that division. I think behind Atlanta,
Atlanta and Tampa.
Tampa, yeah. So it's not like they got beat down by like a Niners, like the Jets. We'll talk about them later, but
We'll talk about that later.
they got beat by a Super Bowl contender, like the second best team in the league. Like these guys got beat by a team that's not even going to make the playoffs. Second off, Bryce Young. I just want to say I don't know why. Maybe because I'm an Alabama fan, even though I have a Penn State hat on. Siblings go there. Um, I defend him, but like I just don't know because it's like I feel like if you put him on the Texans, he's obviously not as good as CJ Stroud. I know that he's not as good, but I think he does so much better if you swap him and Stroud.
Oh, a million times. It just comes down to surrounding cast and
Yeah,
coaching.
yeah. All right, next game on my slate here that I got. God dang it. The Vikings and the Giants. I There's nothing to
All
talk
right, you
about.
want me to lead off because you're, a little emotional here.
Let me just talk first of
All
all.
right, you got it.
We suck. If we win a game, I'll be happy. We're awful. I want us to tank. I will take any of the top three picks this year. I would love Shador Sanders. I would love Travis Hunter. I would love Brock Ewers. I don't care. We need a new quarterback. We have weapons, and our defense, honestly, although they look really bad, isn't half awful if you can get some run support, right? It's like baseball. If you can get some run support, guess what? Your pitching staff's going to be more motivated to go out there and pitch a gem for you if you can get some run support. As a defense, if you're just getting scored on and your offense isn't giving you anything, it's like, why am I going to keep going out there if you guys are just going to keep making us go out there and not score? And you play, so I'm sure you know how that feels. You can take over. I can't talk about this anymore.
Um, Without getting too much detail, I very much know how that feels as the offensive side of the ball
Yeah,
in terms of not scoring points.
yeah.
And I'm not going to elaborate further with fear of people trying to kill me on my team. Anyway, I want to just dive in. I did a lot of looking at the analytics side of things. Dexter Lawrence is actually I'm gonna say greatest. He's actually the highest rated defensive lineman out of the entirety of the NFL for week 1.
He's a
So
dog. He's a
However,
dog.
he only played 2/3 of the snaps in that game, roughly 67%.
Yeah, because
Why?
he's a
Because the
dog.
Giants were on defense the entire time.
Yeah,
Usually he's up to around 73 to like 80% of the snaps, but he's getting gassed because, and it's nothing against his conditioning.
he get off
The
the
Giants were
field.
on defense the entire time. They couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Deontay Banks, oh boy, wasn't the best showing out there. I'm a big Banks supporter.
Wasn't the best showing. It's against the best wide receiver in the league. It's tough. I don't think Jefferson had over. What did he have? He had a
I
touchdown
think
and
he
like,
had a touchdown and maybe like 60 yards, but
which isn't
it
like
wasn't the
Jefferson
greatest
standards.
showing for him.
Like Jefferson standards, it could be so much better, but no,
Oh,
it
100%.
definitely wasn't the best showing. Malik Neighbors honestly didn't have an awful game. Just can't get the ball to him because Daniel Jones can't make a goddamn read. And our
Oh,
offensive
Neighbors is going to be a beast. Let's just establish that right now. He's going to
and
be very good.
oh my God, yeah. And our line played great. Like I was watching our offensive line and I was like, this is fully on Daniel Jones.
I mean, yeah, the line there was 3 sacks of the game, and I don't blame them all on the line. Maybe one, and yeah, I think that was on the right tackle. That's a Luminor. I think got beat. But no, right guard. It was someone in the interior. Actually, remember it
That's
was one of the
still
guards.
that's
But
still
still, it happens. All right, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Jones has to A, not take too much time in the pocket. B, uh, move his feet, and
hit the
C,
second read.
make good reads.
Yes, dude. Oh my God, he couldn't hit the second read. It was the first read or nothing. It was the first read, nothing, or he ran. That was it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm done with talking about the Giants. We suck.
Oh, I'm gonna say one more thing.
Yep,
Going into the season, I was saying, and you can tell me to shut up. I was saying that Kayvon Thibodeau is the most overrated edge rusher in the NFL right now.
you might be right.
As if you look at his stats from last season, oh, I double digit that. Look at where the sacks came from. It was against the Jets and the Commanders, two of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. He was absolutely invisible, and I'm really beginning. I hate to say this. I think the 2022 draft, both first round picks, are busts.
Yeah,
Unless Kayvon can turn it around and can
might
prove that
be.
he's worth a contract extension, I think he's a bust. And you could call that overreaction, but he's absolutely invisible
They're
against
entitled
mediocre
to.
offensive lines.
And you know what? I'm starting to fall that way too because when you have an elite player like Dexter Lawrence on the other side of you, right? It's like the Aaron Donald effect. It's like they got to give him more attention, so you got to get those numbers up.
Exactly. Probably
All
your
right.
character is still a beast.
Next game, Patriots Bengals, probably the most surprising one of the week because no one was expecting
Jacoby Brissett.
to win. I bet on the Bengals 100%. There's rumors going
I
around
know
that
sports bet.
Joe Burrow's wrist is hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw a rumor about that as well. I don't
I think
really
it's
know what to
media.
say.
Uh,
Um,
Joe Burrow historically plays like awful the first like 3 or 4 games of the year, and then all of a sudden he wins like 8 straight or something like that, and they sneak into the playoffs, and then they go and play Kansas City and whatever. But I don't know.
historically they're good against Kansas City in terms of the passing 5 years, but
They
this is
didn't
kind of
look.
how it rolls.
I don't know. It was something about them. They didn't look like they could be a top three team in the AFC. And
On a side
Har-
note, Jazz
Harsh,
Chisholm walk-off victory for the Yankees.
he walked it off.
Yeah, we were in top bottom 11, I believe. Wait, let me see the
Solid.
alert again.
Back to what I was saying.
Bottom 11, yeah.
The Jamar Chase situation doesn't help them. Just came
Yeah,
out either today or tomorrow. He turned down 140 million for 4 years, I think it was, right?
yeah. I hold on a second. I'm just gonna check this.
Yeah, you could check that, but that's ridiculous. That's like 35 million a year. That's ridiculous.
By the way, 140 million is Justin Jefferson's contract. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, exactly. So they were going to pay him the same amount as someone who he's not better than, and he
One of his
wants
former
to
teammates as
blow
well.
him out of the water. He probably wants 160 for 4 years, which is absurd. Absurd. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Something seemed off about me to the Bengals. I don't think they're winning the division. I think the Ravens are winning that division.
I think so as well.
I think the Ravens are going to win it pretty handily. And I think that the Steelers, based on how the Bengals are playing and their chemistry right now, I mean, no T. Higgins hurt them, but like I think the Steelers could make a case for just competing a little bit because yeah, I mean we'll get to the Steelers game next because TJ Watt.
You want to quickly flip to that right now, actually, on that note, because there's
Yeah,
actually a very alarming fact that I want to share. It is
yeah.
that
Let's
in
let's
that
jump.
game,
Yeah. Steelers Falcons. Let's talk.
the Falcons did not run a single play action pass.
That's
Um,
ridiculous. And TJ Watt that game feasted.
oh,
Feast.
phenomenal.
I
He's an
swear,
animal.
every time I looked up at my TV screen on Red Zone, TJ Watt is next to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, 100%. Absolute just yes. Well, the reason why I bring that up is because if you know anything about football, play action is a great way to take the shoulders off of everyone pretty much. Reset everything.
100%.
Just go, take the handoff, roll out, sit in the pocket, do what you need to do as a quarterback, and let's the run game take a rest for a second, take a back seat. I don't know if it was because Kirk Cousins tore his ACL last year and partial MCL. I don't know. I'll
Mm.
put the graphic up for the actual injury. I don't know if it was because of that they were a little scared about doing rollouts or doing anything play action, because that takes more movement of the legs, obviously, especially the lower body. Sorry, more of the
Yeah.
knee in that area or the knee area itself because of
Yeah.
how much bending it's
100%.
doing. If that's the case, I kind of understand, but in that case, you can't play scared. It's the NFL. You have to suck it up and deal with it. But it's like I said, just really alarming to me. I thought Bijan Robinson didn't play that bad. I think he's got a bright future ahead of himself for the game, for the league. Kyle Pitts, that was like his first touchdown, I believe,
Great game.
in a while at least. Sorry. I have a foot cramp.
But
Pardon me for a second. I have a foot cramp.
you're good.
All right, keep talking.
Anyway, okay, we're gonna jump. I just want to jump to the Patriots game real quick. I gotta give Mayo props for getting his guys ready and out there to play. and Jacoby Brissett. Got to give them all props for getting out there and playing their ass off to win that game.
Yes.
All right.
And it pains me to say it because I'm a Jets fan, but
Yeah.
hats off to them.
We're gonna jump to Texans Colts, which is one of the most exciting 1 o'clock window games. Stroud Richardson is going to be an amazing matchup in that division to watch for years to come, because Anthony Richardson looked great and CJ Stroud
Yes.
amazing per usual. They looked about the same. Just
I think
MVP
Richardson had
and
throw of the week. That
Richardson
one
just
bomb.
oh my god, yeah.
That was
Richardson just
gorgeous.
doesn't have the targets that CJ Stroud has, but it was an amazing game.
Yeah, nothing against Pittman. It's just Nico Collins take down Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon running the ball. That's a lethal. That's a lethal offense. Oh, and don't forget about their tight end. Well, I'm forgetting his name. He Schultz. Yes. I was saying
Yep.
play for the Cowboys. Very reliable possession threat. So
Oh my
I think
god.
that Texas team is great. I think this Colts team's not that bad. As far as up there up the middle on defense. Um, like we said, Anthony Richardson. I was doubting him for a while. That was his 18th, I believe, or 19th start since high school, which
Yeah.
is kind of insane to think about. If
Yeah.
he can stay healthy, he could be very good in the league. I think. I
Oh,
think really. I'll touch on that. All right, I'll touch on it now. I think Richardson, if he really pans out and proves to be an absolute beast for the rest of his career, is going to change how quarterbacks are drafted like permanently, where they're going to basically be selecting more on potential and upside rather than college stats. For example, Zach Wilson is why you don't do that.
exactly. No, I think that was a great game too. Checked all the boxes for me. I think Texas is the third best team in the AFC behind the Ravens and the Chiefs. Let's jump to the other exciting 1 o'clock game. There were a couple. Here's another one. Bills Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. Got to talk about that. That was
Okay. Let's just start with this. Why would you draft a receiver if you don't plan on using him at all?
I don't
Especially
know.
one with that much upside and potential to be the undoubtedly number one receiver in the draft.
Yep. And did you hear what Kyler Murray said in his post game?
Uh, I do. I forgot though.
He said it's not his job to get the ball to him.
Ah, yes, that's right.
Who
Um,
whose job is it, Kyler? I understand you got
it's
coach.
Marvin Harrison's job to throw it to himself.
Yeah, I understand you got coaches and stuff. And there was a route that Marvin Harrison Jr. ran, and they were like, "Is this a good route?" They were like questioning his ethic. Bro, respectfully, if I was the number one receiver in the draft and my quarterback threw me one throw for like 4 yards and I wasn't looked at by the fourth quarter, I'd be running half-ass routes out there too. And he was wide open for that game-winning touchdown, and they blew it.
Yeah. Oh, oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Going back to the Ravens game, Zay Flowers wide
Oh,
open in the end zone. I forgot
yes.
about that.
And yeah, oh my God, yeah. But apparently Lamar said that wasn't going for him. I think it was. I
I think it
digress.
was.
He can say what he
I
wants.
just think he missed him.
Lamar also
Anyway,
thinks likely was in the end zone. It was a complete catch.
yeah,
Whatever.
is what it is. Um, Sticking with the Bills game though. Sorry to transition off of that.
No, you're
Um,
good.
Josh Allen, what a day! What an
Yeah.
absolute
Wow.
day by that man.
Wow.
It's three total touchdowns, if I remember correctly, one on the ground, two in the air. Over the other way around. Physical force, just wow.
Big
I mean, there's a reason why he was the number one fantasy quarterback this year. I'll put it that way.
big dog. Yep.
Yeah, he's a dog. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a dog.
Sure.
That was very impressive.
All right. Next game of the 1 o'clock window. Bears Titans. You kick this one off.
Okay. I think you have to talk about the most the what the I'm not gonna curse here because family friendly. The what the pass that ended up losing the game for the Titans, the pick six. I'm a Will Levis supporter. I think he's gonna be good in the league, but that you can't do that.
I agree.
That's inexcusable. You can't just cuts in front and throw a pick like that for six. Like
I
that's
totally
unacceptable.
agree. That was ridiculous. Also, I want to touch on Caleb Williams' performance. He got bailed out. He did not have a good debut. He got bailed out. He wasn't hitting his targets. He had under 100 throwing passing. He had under 100 passing yards. He had like 90 something, which is abysmal as the number one quarterback against the Titans. I know it's your first game, but you got to play better. You got bailed out by your Jonathan.
Especially with how much they boosted that receiving core as well in the offseason.
Oh my
DJ
gosh.
Moore, massive
He,
extension, drafting for Rome. And then I know Keenan Allen's a little bit more chunky, as we'll say, but
but he
I think
missed.
so is this. Excuse me.
Yeah, he missed dudes on routes. Under 100 passing yards. That's not a good performance.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Now, will he bounce back in the future? I think he will, just because
Yeah.
out of nature, but not a good performance, not a good debut. But obviously, the big thing about the NFL is what we say here. And Mockers say is goldfish. Goldfish, they have a short life, so they always live in the present, don't live in the past. So he'll get past it. We'll use like I said, goldfish, get past it, and stay the present. I think he'll rebound. I don't think he'll
I
have a
agree.
great like next game, but it'll be something to build off of. It would definitely be like a big improvement. He'll definitely hit over 100 passing yards.
Next week he plays the Texans, so that'll be a test.
Oh, maybe I lied because Derek Stingley is pretty good right now.
All right, next game, which is one of the most talked about games in the media, Dolphins Jaguars. We all know what happened before the game with Tyreek Hill getting arrested.
Okay, let's just talk about that celebration real quickly. That was awesome.
That was a dope celebration.
That was awesome.
I'm not here to get into the politics of anything for Tyreek Hill, so we're just going to keep it on the game. But we do acknowledge that he was arrested for the game,
And
and he
we
had
will
a little.
also acknowledge about the
He
footage
had a,
that was released as well, but we're not going to talk about that
not
in the
talking
rest of
about
it.
it. We're keeping
Unless you
it.
want to add anything right now to what I'm saying, just feel free.
No, I'm totally good. I just want to say that probably added some fire under his belly. I bet his touchdown that day, and that hit because that 80-yard touchdown into that celebration, that was pure Tyreek Hill right there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like I said, I don't sports bet. I'm not really supposed to, not really allowed to. So if
Yeah,
I could, I would have.
yeah.
The big word is if I could, I would have. I don't
Now,
actually sports bet.
also, I want to take away the Jaguars blew it. Like they blew it. They
Yeah,
were
they blew it.
and they blew it. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think Trevor Lawrence played awful, if I'm correct. I mean, he didn't play great. He was 162 yards, one touchdown. Tua had 338 and a touchdown. I think they didn't let him throw the ball. He was 12 for 21, which means they didn't let him air it out.
You also just paid the man how much money in the offseason?
Yeah,
You paid him a lot of money in the offseason to be your franchise quarterback for, the foreseeable future. You got to let him loose. You can't just let him hold back.
exactly.
You're giving that
After the
money out of confidence. It's a statement. Say, yeah, you are our guy. All right. You're gonna get the ball. We're gonna have you be our guy. We're gonna lock you up, with us with the money. You gotta produce. We want to let you do whatever you want, kind of throw the ball. But holding him
exactly.
back is not gonna help the team. I think Lawrence is extremely talented, got a lot of potential. I don't even think he's hit like nearly close to his upside yet. So I think he's still got a ways to go in his potential, but he's gonna be good. I think he still is not that bad right now, but you gotta let him throw.
I agree. He aired out 21 to compared to Tua's 37. I understand that Tua's got some targets like no one else in the league. So Tua's obviously going to air it out more. But Tanks Bigsby. So I might be butchering that. He had 12 carries for 73 yards. I think at that point you have to realize that it's not working and go to the passing game because after the second quarter they didn't score a single point, which is unacceptable if you're a team like the Jaguars who were just in the divisional round 2 years ago playing the Chiefs.
Yeah. And on a side note, for the Dolphins for tomorrow, as we were recording this on Wednesday, 9/11. Salute to the victims of the fallen.
Listen,
To the fallen. Rest in peace. Never forget. It's kind of important to note that Raheem Mostert is ruled out for tomorrow,
yeah,
for Thursday Night Football.
yep.
Because A, fantasy football. B, him and Devon Achane are a really lethal 1-2 punch in the run game. So Achane will be the number one back, it seems, who is actually very much banged up still for tomorrow. And it's probably worth monitoring that because the Dolphins' dynamic offense revolves heavily around both the passing and balanced offense. So they run the ball, they throw the ball. It really just comes down to the health of those guys. And I don't know who's filling in RB2 now, but he should expect to get a heavy workload because the way that the Dolphins run my committee.
For sure. All right, next game, Seahawks Broncos. There's not honestly, this game was kind of bland. It was
I was going to
26-20.
say that, yeah.
There's
It
nothing really
wasn't
to
really,
talk about other than Bo Nix sucked and he threw the ball 42 times.
yeah, that was absurd.
Uh, Nothing really to talk about. That game was kind of bland. Seahawks kind of just won because they're the better team and Gino had a good game.
Yeah,
And
precisely. I mean, I got nothing to add.
there's nothing really from DK. Surtain had him the whole game. So we're just gonna jump to the Chargers Raiders game. That game was honestly kind of bland too. They got the first win with Harbaugh as their head coach. Minshew actually played better than Justin Herbert somehow. He had 257 with one tutty, and Justin Herbert had a 144 with one tutty. Chargers, I don't know. The game was bland, but I do want to touch on the fact that do we think that they're going to get over? Not they're not winning the division because the Chiefs are winning the division. Do
The
you think
Chiefs are going to win the division.
they're going to get over that hump of barely missing the playoffs or blowing the lead in the playoffs and get to that like divisional round. Because Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback, top 5 quarterback, you could say, in the league, and they just can't do it. Do you think
Not this
Harbaugh
year.
can get in there? Not this
Not
year.
this year. Not
I
this year.
agree.
I think they need more offensive weapons, to be honest with you. I think they also just need them.
100%.
Harbaugh
Yep.
needs another year in the NFL. I know he was coach those 49ers teams that were great in the early 2010s. They went to the Super Bowl against his brother, the Ravens. But I think he could use another full year of coaching, let the roster sit, get some more guys for free agency, draft some more guys. On a side note, Joe Alt, hell of a day. Zero sacks allowed, zero pressures allowed, going against Max Crosby the entire day.
Lovely.
Great
Like to
performance,
see.
especially for an offensive lineman right here. Love to see it.
Yep. We're gonna jump to the Cowboys-Browns game. Again, another game that was just like it was such a beatdown, and Deshaun Watson played so awful that there's nothing to talk about. Cowboys fans will gas this up, but Deshaun Watson is just awful. I don't know where he went or what happened, but that guy that was in Texas did not go to Cleveland or something.
Yeah, I might have been the result of taking a year off, might be the results from the injuries. He does not look like the same guy that was making the most ridiculous throws and
Sucks.
maneuverability in the pocket.
He threw the
As
ball
you know,
45 times and didn't get. He threw the ball 13 more times than Dak Prescott did and didn't finish with more passing yards.
yeah, I'll be honest, I fell asleep during that game.
Yeah, it just wasn't a good game at all. It
Yeah,
was a pure beatdown. Bucs-Commanders, another just beatdown. I only know about this game because Baker Mayfield threw for 4 touchdowns and had 289 yards and had 40 fantasy points on me. Um,
congratulations to Jane Daniels for his first two touchdowns in the NFL, both rushing touchdowns.
yep.
He's got a bright future ahead of himself. The Commanders overall,
I
the
think
dog days are very much behind them now that Dan Snyder is no longer their owner for the second straight year. So
I agree.
it'll go up.
I think out of the rookie quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels probably had the best performance. He didn't throw for any tutties, but he didn't also throw any interceptions. So I think he
Exactly.
definitely played
That's the
better.
big thing.
The main thing was their deep 20 points isn't all is pretty good. Their defense just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And it's tough to
Um,
stop Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
yeah, don't forget about Rashawn White too. The running game was good.
All right, next game, Sunday Night Football, an exciting one. I don't know if you
Oh,
watched the
an
game.
excellent one. I watched every second of it. Excellent
Beautiful
game.
Sunday night game. Cooper Kupp screwed me in fantasy. Matt Stafford aired the ball out almost 50 times, and he threw for 317 with one tutty and one interception. One of the biggest things, Puka's hurt.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
Puka is on IR. Hopefully he's gonna be okay.
but that was such an exciting game all around. The takeaways that I got from that game was that both of these teams can compete with anybody. If they can compete with each other like that, they can compete with anybody in the league at that level. Because
My
that
question for the people
exciting.
out there is when was David Montgomery drafted in your fantasy? Because that man still very much has a heavy presence in the run game.
Oh my God, he won him the game. Yeah, he won
Yeah,
him.
he won the game.
I
And I
remember.
thought he had a great day at the ground too. Like, don't get
Oh
me
yeah,
wrong. I said it last year too. Him and Jameer Gibbs, great 1-2 punch. And I will say it again. It's not that great 1-2 punch again. And I really think that
yeah,
Montgomery, I like him as a starter, personally. Nothing against Gibbs. I
yeah.
just like him get that first carry and then you can roll for there for committee. But I
I
think that's a
agree.
really great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I was watching the game and they gave it to Montgomery and then they put Gibbs in and I was like, you got to let Montgomery finish this out because he brought you to this spot. So
Yeah.
finish it out. And that's what they
And
did. Overall, it was
on
such
Raw,
a game. I'm on Raw. I would have a disappointing game, but they won.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, they weren't really trying to target him on Raw. They were trying to spread the ball out a little bit. Jameson Williams had a touchdown. We're just trying to spread the ball out, really, just trying to get
You
away.
can,
Monterell was the distraction. He was the decoy, as we'll say,
yeah,
that game.
you can definitely see in the Rams defense though what the we all know who they're missing.
Yeah, and they're
But
really missing him.
you can see it because Goff had all day to throw that ball.
Oh, and the run game as well.
And the run game, oh my God, yeah, Montgomery in overtime, yeah, they're really missing him, and he's not coming back. He's not like Tom Bradying this thing. He's done.
Tom Brady this thing.
I think
Yeah,
he's
he's done.
I think he's the second greatest defensive player of all time, and he's done.
And you're
Yeah,
saying this behind the horse tower, right?
yeah,
That's the only correct answer. I
yeah,
don't care what anyone says.
I would say so. All right, Sean, I'm gonna let you yap about the last game of the week because it's your team.
It
So
actually didn't even bother me that much. I'll be honest. The big takeaway was what was his name? David Mason.
yeah,
No, David. That wasn't it.
David Mason. It was Mason.
David Mason is the
I
main
can look.
character in Black Ops 2.
I'll pick
Um,
him up in fantasy because I have seen another league.
oh man, he played a great game. Um,
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, yeah, that Jets defensive line got bullied. They're really missing Reddick right now. I really don't know what to add to that in terms of defensively. Sauce, he got taken out a couple times. I think it was because of rest. The defense was on the field for a lot of the game.
Yeah,
They established the run early and they kept going from there. The 49ers are a championship caliber team. The Jets are getting to that point still. Rodgers, the one pick, that's unfortunate. It happens. Um, he looked composed in the pocket though. I know he missed. I know he yeah, that when he failed to convert on fourth down with quick slant to Garrett Wilson. I know he wished he had that one back, but he didn't look bad. He still could
no,
swing the ball at however old he is. Got good vision. That ball to Alan Lazard was
yeah,
absolutely beautiful. Brees maybe overdrafted a little bit, but then again, that's a great defense by the 49ers. Fred Warner is,
yeah.
in my opinion, the best linebacker in the league.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of growing pains with the Jets there. I think it really showed the offensive line could use some, that experience getting beat up and, remembering that feeling of, oh, so this is what it feels like to lose again. And then getting back together, regrouping, and going back again. I think that they play the Titans this week, so I think that should be a rebound game. But I think this is a needed game. Just, I think a lot of the Jets fan base overreacted, but I kind of said, like, as long as they put up a fight at the end of the game, I'll be happy with it because I knew going in, we were probably not going to beat the 49ers. And well,
Exactly.
kind of a blowout. Purdy had a good day. On a side note, I lost to Jake Moody in fantasy. I was up by 2. I had You're gonna laugh. I had Debo Samuel going, and he had Jake Moody, and Moody had 26 points, and Samuel
Oh,
had 18 in PPR leagues. So I walked into practice the next day, pissed off at my teammates because I lost that game.
yeah,
And just for the record, that game is that league that's in. It's not for money. We're only playing for fun.
for sure. Think that's it. We've basically hit time here. Talked about all the games week one. Thought we were gonna have some more time. Really went into depth about it, but I don't mind. I love talking ball.
Yeah,
Lot of comments on the Jets game was I think Rodgers looked fine. I don't think there's anything to overreact with. I think that was a good first game for the Jets to kind of bring them. I think a lot of their fans and I think the Jets themselves were kind of on this cloud nine of like we got Rodgers back, so we're gonna be one of the top 5 teams in the league. And I think the 49ers were like, whoa, like just because you got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time doesn't mean you still have other problems to address. And I think the 49ers came out and they showed them that, like, hey, like you got some work to do. So I think it was kind of a comeback to earth moment for them, but they're going to come back. They're going to bounce back. They're going to be a winning team this season. I think they're going to sneak into the wild card. And yeah, that's
overall, I'm just very curious to see
ahead.
how this AFC East race goes. Um, I think it's the most competitive division of football right now, just as it is. I mean, maybe the Patriots, but hell, they beat the Bengals, so we'll see what happens. But right now, everyone in that division, but the Jets has a win, and I think the Jets still have the toughest game out of everyone there. But it's going to come down to the wire, so I'm very excited to follow the AFC East. Obviously, not just the Jets for the rest of the season. See how that ends up because it can really
I
go to
agree.
anyone.
I agree. All right. Well, we want to thank you for watching the Mo Mayer podcast and tuning in again. We just wanted to say, may God rest everyone's souls today. And
Yes, on this day.
that happened. We weren't even alive for it at the time, but still
Yeah,
awful.
still
Uh,
awful, and seeing I can see the towers from not literally outside my window, but if I walk a little bit, I can see where they once were. So my
mhm.
heart goes out to everyone that was tragically killed on that day.
Yep. But thank you for watching. We hope you have a great week and signing
We'll see
off.
you in the next one.